Welcome to the Forsaken Stars, the journey of humanity's last hope as they venture beyond the ashes of a dying Earth. If you're listening to this on YouTube or another platform, you're getting just a taste of the world we're building, but there's so much more to uncover. For the full-length episodes, behind-the-scene insights, and exclusive lore, join us on Patreon and unlock the full experience of the Forsaken Stars. In the final days of Earth, the world had grown cold, barren. The oceans, once vast and teeming with life, were reduced to salty waste. Forests, once endless and lush, had become nothing more than twisted skeletons of what they had been. And the sky, no longer the brilliant blue of Earth's golden days, was veiled in ash and smoke. The air itself had become a scarce resource, thin and toxic, choking the very life that had once thrived under its canopy. Humanity had consumed everything the Earth had to give. Centuries of unchecked growth, expansion, and greed had stripped the planet of its lifeblood. The world's resources were no longer enough to sustain the billions who called it home. And so, in their desperation, humanity turned its gaze toward the stars. The leaders of Earth, those in power, those with influence, promised salvation. 5 great ships, each capable of carrying the remnants of humanity to new worlds, would leave the broken planet behind, giving mankind a second chance at life. This was the lie they told. "There will be a place for everyone," the leaders said. "Humanity will be saved." The words echoed through every corner of the earth, spreading hope to the millions who had long feared that there would be no future. People clung to these promises, desperate for salvation. But the truth was far different. Behind the scenes, the colony ships were never meant to carry everyone. From the very beginning, they were designed to hold only a select few, those chosen by the powerful, the wealthy, and the influential. The masses who had been led to believe they would escape the dying Earth were never part of the plan. The governments and corporations that had built the colony ships had their own vision for humanity's future. Each ship was not just a vessel, it was a world unto itself, and each world was governed by its own founding owners, individuals and groups who held the reins of power. They would decide who would board. They would decide who was worthy of survival. First among these ships was the Celeste, a ship built for the pursuit of knowledge. Its founding owners were the intellectual elites of the Earth, the scientists, the engineers, the scholars who had spent their lives in the pursuit of technological advancement. They saw themselves as the future of humanity, believing that through their intellect and innovation, they would build a society that could rise above the mistakes of the past. But the Celeste was not open to everyone. Only those who were deemed worthy of advancing this intellectual cause were allowed aboard. Scientists who had made groundbreaking discoveries, engineers who designed the technology that powered the world, scholars who had shaped the way humanity understood itself. These were the people chosen to board the Celeste. Yet, it wasn't just about intellect. The people who boarded this ship shared a common belief that humanity could be perfected, refined through knowledge and order. Their future would be shaped by efficiency, calculation, and the pursuit of what they saw as the greater good. The individual would always come second to the advancement of the whole. Then there was the Titan, a ship that carried with it the promise of industry. Its founding owners were the titans of Earth's once great industrial empires. They had built the factories, the refineries, and the machines that powered the world's growth for centuries. And as the Earth crumbled beneath the weight of its own consumption, These industrialists believed that the only way forward was to continue building, continue consuming. The Titan was filled with those who shared this vision. Engineers, laborers, and industrial magnates, all chosen for their ability to create. But this ship, like the others, was selective. The chosen people to board were not just those who could build. They were those who believed that industry, despite its destructive past, was the future. To them, progress could only come through creation, even if it meant once again stripping the land bare. The Titan would not be a utopia of endless growth, but a continuation of Earth's industrial legacy, one where survival depended on the endless cycle of creation and consumption. The third ship was the Zephyr, a vessel built for those who valued freedom above all else. Its founding owners were individuals who had always resisted the rule of centralized governments and corporate control. These were the rebels, the anarchists, the people who had never fully integrated into the global system. They believed that humanity's future lay not in the hands of rulers or elites, but in the freedom of the individual. The Zephyr carried people from all walks of life, those who had lived on the fringes of society, those who had fought against the constraints of government and order. They were chosen not for their skills, but for their ideals. They were the people who valued autonomy, personal freedom, and the right to chart their own course, no matter the cost. But freedom comes with its own challenges. The Zephyr's future was uncertain, for without unity, the ship's journey would be fraught with internal conflict. They had no rulers, no governors, only the shared belief that freedom was paramount, even if it meant living in chaos. The Eden was the fourth ship, and it carried with it a different vision. Its founding owners were religious leaders, people who believed that humanity's future was not in science or industry, but in faith. They saw the collapse of the earth as a divine punishment, a sign that mankind had lost its way. And so they sought to build a new world, one guided by faith, order, and hierarchy. The people aboard the Eden were chosen for their devotion, their belief in the greater purpose. Priests, monks, and followers from many faiths, all whom believed that the key to humanity's survival was spiritual, not material. They would build a new society, one where faith dictated law and order was maintained through divine right. But with faith came control. The Eden would be a world where hierarchy ruled, and those few at the top would guide the fate of the many. Finally, there was the Halo, the most advanced of the ships. Its founding owners were the visionaries of Earth's technological future, those who believed that the next step in human evolution lay in the merging of man and machine. The people aboard the Halo were pioneers in the field of cybernetics, artificial intelligence, and human enhancement. To them, the future was not one of flesh and bone, but of circuits and silicon. Those chosen to board the Halo were the visionaries of this new world. Scientists who had pushed the boundaries of human enhancement, engineers who had designed the AI systems that would govern the ship, and those who had already begun the process of merging with technology. They believed that the next phase of humanity's evolution would come through the fusion of man and machine, and that the Halo would be the birthplace for this new race. While the colony ships prepared to depart, not all of humanity had accepted their fate. There were those who believed that the Earth was sacred, that it had been mankind's greed and technology that had caused the planet's collapse, and that abandoning it was not the solution. This group, known as the Forsaken, had their own vision for humanity's future. They believed that salvation could only come through the rejection of the technology and industry that had destroyed the planet. For the Forsaken, leaving Earth was not a step forward. It was a betrayal. The Forsaken began their work in the shadows. They infiltrated governments, corporations, and even the military, seeking to sabotage the colony ships before they could leave. Their goal was to stop the Exodus, to prevent humanity from abandoning the only home they had ever known. They believed that if the ships could be stopped, humanity might still have a chance to rebuild on Earth, to start again, this time without the technology that had doomed them. Their plan was simple: to deploy a field of debris and mines into Earth's orbit, creating a barrier that would prevent the ships from leaving. If they could cut off the colony ships from space, they could force humanity to stay and face the consequences of its actions. But the Forsaken were too late. As the colony ships launched, the Forsaken's debris field was deployed, but it was too late to stop them from escaping. The ships disappeared into the stars, leaving Earth behind. But the Forsaken's final act would leave a permanent scar. The debris and minefields they launched remained in orbit, effectively sealing Earth off from the rest of the galaxy. For those aboard the colony ships, the debris field was a mark of no return. They were now cut off from the planet they had once called home, unable to return, even if they wanted to. Back on Earth, those who remained watched as the sky grew dark, as the remnants of the Forsaken debris field blocked out the stars. The planet they had destroyed was now their prison. Earth, once a cradle of life and ambition, was now a tomb for the billions left behind. Life on Earth became a struggle for survival. The Forsaken, having failed to stop the colony ships, took control of what little remained of Earth's governments and resources. They ruled with an iron fist, enforcing their beliefs that technology and progress had doomed humanity. Those who survived did so under the Forsaken's banner, clinging to the hope that one day the planet could be restored. Meanwhile, the 5 colony ships continued their journey, each one venturing further into the unknown reaches of space. The people aboard these ships were not simply survivors. They were pioneers, tasked with the burden of rebuilding humanity in their image. But what awaited them in the stars was uncertain. Each ship would become its own world, guided by the ideologies of its founders and shaped by the people who had been chosen to board. The future of humanity was no longer one shared vision. It had fractured into 5 distinct paths, each one destined to create its own legacy. And so, the Great Departure marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Humanity had escaped the dying Earth by the sweat and betrayal of the masses. The debris field surrounding the planet was a symbol of the fractured future that awaited. 5 colony ships, 5 worlds, 5 destinies. This is the story of the Forsaken Stars. And so concludes this episode of The Forsaken Stars. But this is just the beginning of our journey through the fractured future of humanity. If you enjoyed this episode, there's much more to discover in the extended versions and exclusive content available on Patreon. Get access to deeper lore, full storylines, and become part of the creative process. Join our growing community of explorers and visionaries as we unravel the secrets of the galaxy and shape the future of Forsaken Stars together. Head over to Patreon and join us on this journey into legends.